Why does it say that people don't come to the light? They don't come to Jesus. It's because their deeds are evil. They don't want their deeds exposed, so they're not going to come to the light. Because when you turn on a light, of course, it shines on everything in your heart. So if you don't want Jesus, if you don't want to give up your sin, you're not going to respond to the gospel. But what's interesting is he says in verse 21, but he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be manifest, that they are wrought in God. Well, if this person's not born again, what deeds is he already doing? I mean, that almost doesn't make sense. But what he's saying is the person who comes to the light, he is allowing his heart to be exposed to the light, and that is the very first righteous act he does. The very first righteous act any child does is accepting the invitation to the gospel. He's coming to the light. He's therefore allowing everything in his heart to be exposed. He confesses it. He repents of it. He accepts Jesus as Savior. And that is him doing truth, that his deeds may be manifest. And notice deeds is plural here. So the first deed that you do that is righteous, your first act of righteousness is to respond to the gospel and you accept Jesus as Savior. And the reason it's plural is because inside that one act is every other righteous thing you will ever do, because it all starts with getting that new life on the inside of you. And then once you have the new life, then you can walk out your righteousness as in deeds of the body. One common misconception is that, I don't know how people who ascribe to radical grace, they obviously don't read their Bible. Because you can go to 2 Corinthians 5 and it talks about one day we're going to stand before the judgment seat of Christ, and every man's going to receive for the deeds, he's going to be judged for the deeds of his body, what he did while he was wearing his natural body. So the Jewish people had a problem. They thought just because they were hearing the law, because they were the people that had the law spoken to them, that somehow meant they were saved. But Paul tells them, I know it's in Romans, I think also in Galatians, that it's not the hearers of the law that are just before God, but the doers of the law. So now Christianity comes about, and in this day and age, you have people think, well, as long as I've accepted Jesus as Savior, His grace covers all my sin, so it doesn't really matter if I sin or not, I'm accepted with Him because He paid the price. But go back to that word, and the same word would apply to you. It's not just because you heard the gospel that makes you saved. It's because you did the gospel. And yes, that does start with the free act of grace that ushers you into the kingdom. You're born again. You have the righteousness of God. But now that you do, you now walk out that righteousness.